Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
I'm here to save the day. I'm here to save the day.
Soon I will be invincible. Because comics.
Welcome to Because Comics. This is episode 72. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, the enterprising Mike Christensen.
Done. Don't know the Star Wars theme song.
You mean the Star Trek theme song?
Oh.
Whoa.
That was a lot. That was a lot of nerd failure all in a row.
All at the same time.
That was.
You imploded on the runway.
That was like, my mom doesn't mix up Star Wars and Star Trek, guys. Like, that was grandma level.
That was pretty fantastic.
What happened?
Whew.
Anyway.
Everybody knows they're in for a real treat this episode.
I sure am enterprising. Couldn't think of another joke for enterprising other than the shows.
Good recovery, Mike.
Star Trek's, oof. I got faith of the heart. There, that's the Enterprise theme. I think I've redeemed my nerd cred.
Sure. Sure you have. I think, like, the golden rule is, look, we accept anybody as long as you don't mix up Star Trek and Star Wars.
That's the one rule.
As long as you don't do that. All right,
it's
guys.
a good thing I don't believe in initiation for fans, because, ooh boy.
Woo, and luckily, none of our comics are about Star Wars or Star Trek today. Sometimes they are.
That does happen, yeah.
That's true. So, Mike, should we talk about comics?
Yes, every episode we talk about the comic books that we are reading and think, you know who might like this?
Who?
People who listen to our podcast.
Great.
Because we have a forum for this sort of thing. So, Jay, when you're reading comics and you're thinking, well, gosh, I think our fans would enjoy this, what is that comic this episode?
Well, the comic I think you guys would really like is a comic from Image called Curse Words. It's written by Charles Soule and drawn by Ryan Browne.
We've talked about Charles Soule a lot. That dude's on a roll.
Yeah, that guy is doing great stuff. And this is another great comic. This is the first issue, just came out this past week and called Curse Words. It is pretty great. The premise is a wizard named Wizard. What? That's all you need to know.
All right, how much is this comic? How much is the comic?
That's right. His name is Wizard. It's just Wizard with an O, but better somehow. He comes from a dimension that's basically what I can call Conan dimension, where, like, you know, like if anybody's ever seen the Conan movie, everybody's like constantly pushing a big wheel and they're all like chained to it for some reason, you know, those kind of places. Well, he's an evil wizard that has made his way to the material plane, and instead of like dooming it like every other doomsday apocalypse movie or evil wizard might do, this wizard has decided to stick around and kind of make a go of it and be like, you know what, guys, I think I'm gonna put aside my evil wizarding ways. That's not necessarily true, but he's gonna try to blend into society, and it's a really fun kickoff first comic.
So when you say the material world,
I mean Earth. I mean the Earth that we know.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. Let me clarify. The Earth, quote unquote, or material place, right? That's what everybody calls this. Anyways, so he's coming to now, shows up, and he's like a straight up wizard. He has like the robes on, he has a staff with like a crystal on it. He doesn't even speak in proper language. It's not entirely clear what language he speaks. It's just called langue mystique. And then you see him talking to like other animals occasionally in this comic. And it'll say like, I believe it says like langfishic, and like it's fish like being dropped into a bowl, and they're like, we're fish, we love water. So it's not entirely clear if they have a language or that he can just understand other animals, but it's a really fun comic, just kind of like what an asshole wizard would do if they ever came to Earth. And we don't have magic, obviously, like we normally do here.
Yeah, definitely none of us do.
Definitely none. Basically, he would just kind of set up his own shop, and he is definitely not quiet about it. It's not like, ooh, I've got to hide my powers from the world. Like, he immediately makes it aware that he is a wizard and he is awesome and he is here to help everybody. I'm definitely here to help everybody. Now, I've just kind of given the preface of the comic. There's a lot more fun stuff and little bits that happen in it, and it's definitely setting up for a bigger confrontation later on. But if you like wizards and if you like crazy stuff that wizards do in a really well-written comic by Charles Soule and some really fun bits about social media and things like that in a wizard comic, guys, check out Curse Words. It's really good. Mike?
My pull is also from Image, from their Skybound imprint. It is called Horizon. It is also about people coming to Earth. It is about aliens arriving on Earth, infiltrating our society and like making a plan to make sure we don't leave Earth anymore.
Oh.
Because they are very afraid of us. And that's not an irrational fear, I don't think.
Wait, so have we been at this timeline? Have we already been leaving Earth?
So first things first, I skipped over this. Writer is Brandon Thomas, and the art is by Juan, Gedeon, and Frank Martin.
Okay.
And it is set in the not too distant future. So there's like floating motorcycles, that kind of level of change. And like we see, I think it's Detroit or Chicago in the first issue. I don't remember which one. And there's like a park that's been converted into more of like a refugee camp style, like a little bit more Blade Runner-ish, like guys in soldier armor, like standing around while people, I think, get rations or just stay out of the rain and stuff.
Fair
so
enough.
it's not our time, but it's not so far in the future that we've colonized anywhere. They've just seen us. And they've seen our news and stuff, and they're like, well, these people seem like crazy, dangerous monsters. And what's interesting is that it's not necessarily that they're wrong. They certainly don't have the full picture because they don't know us very
Right, they
well.
haven't seen any of the Disney movies.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, they might have seen Bambi.
Oh. Yeah, that doesn't paint us in a positive light.
No, we don't come out great in Bambi. The Rescuers, like, not the best humans
the
in
best,
those movies
no.
either. They want to make sure that we've ruined our planet.
Uh-huh.
It seems like to them. I can't imagine why it would seem that way. We're not taking good care of our planet, but they feel like, look, you've made your bed, you lie in it. Like, don't come and bring your crazy to any other
Stay in your
world.
garbage pile.
Stay in your garbage pile.
You cannot leave.
And they are very militant. There's only a couple of characters, only a couple of alien characters, and the first couple issues are about them finding each other, because Saving Private Ryan style, they did not land near each other, and not all of them managed to avoid detection.
Oh.
So they are trying to deal with, like, how do you reconcile? And we're getting little flashes of their backstory. And the art, by the way, I know this is not related at all to what I was talking about, and I'm totally going to lose my train of thought, but it doesn't matter, because the art is really good in this comic. Like, the art is really, really good in this comic. And that is all. But yeah, so, I mean, it's just, I don't know what to say. The character designs are really cool, and the tone is really engaging and interesting. And that extends through the art and the writing as well.
So, I have a question. Are we following, like, the aliens as the protagonists?
Yes.
And, like, the humans are kind of, like, the enemy?
We've only met a couple humans so far.
Okay.
But, like, the major ones that we've met, yeah, we're not, like, they're the people who find aliens first. You know what I mean? Like, they're the people who are like, oh, well, we found this alien, and we're going to get answers out of it. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, people suck. And, like, the comic in the back, they've said, like, look, you know, where there's going to be some humans in here that are not 100% great. There's going to be some aliens here. Like, they're not 100% awesome. Like, not all the humans are bad, not all the aliens are good. But, like, these humans are bad. Like, this one we just met, he's going to be real bad for a while.
Unequivocally, a villain character.
Yeah, no, that's a bad guy. We met a bad guy today.
Makes sense.
And it's like, oh, yeah, well, fair enough.
That's such an interesting perspective. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I like it because it's not just the inversion of, oh, the humans are the invaders. It's preemptive. It's the Titan AE approach of like, we don't want to know what you're capable of. We've seen enough of what you're capable of to know that we don't want to play this game.
Yeah, we're just going to leave you here.
We're just going to make sure that you don't, and we don't know what their plan is. Like, are they going to go to the equivalent of NASA? I don't know if it's far enough in the future that NASA is a different thing, but are they going to go to our space programs and sabotage them? Are they going to start attacking our actual governments and structures
or
and
build
things?
a giant space fence.
Or build a giant space fence. That's an option too. Feel like they could have brought more space equipment with them, but
Yeah, I think 4 people is not enough.
they do have guns though.
Oh, okay.
And that's
cool alien
I mean, they
guns?
have like full on like tactical gear.
Oh, sweet.
They're tactical gear aliens.
What do these aliens look like?
Human mostly.
Oh,
Just
really?
different shades of colors.
Oh, okay.
But
so
then they
more
also-
like Star Trek aliens?
I'm
bringing
not sure
it
what that
back.
is. Is that the one? I love the Star Trek with the robots.
Yep.
Where the one is gold and the other one beeps and boops.
Yeah.
My favorite Star Treks.
That could probably still be right.
Probably is.
'Cause you didn't say droids, so anyways. So wow, that sounds like a pretty awesome comic.
It's good and I like it. And I think people listening would like it too because it's good.
Well, that's all we need to know, guys. And that is your pull and an excellent pull. That'll take us to our main segment. Mike, kick things off.
The Flash, the heaviest man alive? This comic is from 1962 We are reading The Flash number 132. This story is written by John Broome and art by Carmine Infantino.
Cool.
And we open on Globdar, World 86 of Existence Level 24 of the Cosmos.
Holy crap.
Yes.
What?
Which apparently is not the first time we've seen this planet.
No, are you kidding me?
No, apparently Flash has met these people at least once.
I imagine a writer is just running down the halls of DC and being like, guys, is anybody writing about Globdar right now? Is Globdar in your current arc? Oh, thank God. I get to use Globdar. All right, thanks everybody, and just runs back.
Where the people of Globdar, who of course look like humans,
why wouldn't they?
they're bald, but other than that, they look like humans.
Sure.
And they have their shoes look an awful lot like socks, but with like pointy elf boots, like Santa's elves.
This sounds like a late night at writing at like 4 a.m.
Anyway, the popular form of an indoor entertainment is to tele-watch the activities on a neighboring dimensional world, a fad invented by a company known as Telviz.
Great.
And they're watching a program called Thrills of Earth.
Sure.
And they're watching things like volcanoes, which they don't have.
Hey, that's probably very interesting.
And
for them.
yesterday I saw an earthquake. Yes, and before that, a gigantic flood. There's no doubt about it. This show is definitely the most exciting thing on the air.
Wow, so these guys are like into like environmental torture porn. That's weird.
Well, it's also just like, yeah, they don't have them, I guess.
Yeah,
Their
it's
environment
still
isn't-
watching mass destruction.
No,
it's
granted.
not like I love turning into televiz to watch baby birds being born for the first time.
Yeah, it's very specific.
Yeah.
Like National Geographic, but just the bad parts.
Yep.
But at that moment, at Telviz, at the company, they're having a little board meeting, and they're in trouble because they've got scanners probing all over Earth, and nothing's happening right now that they can show on their next program. They're out of, like, horrible catastrophes.
Oh man, this is like a perfect allegory for like news in today's day and age.
It's sort of okay. This book sort of follows the plot of Die Another Day. No, not Die Another Day.
Wait, what?
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Okay.
Like a little bit, like without the stealth boat.
Is it a bit where like there's not enough terrorism or not enough stuff to do the news on, so we're gonna make the news?
Yes, that's what's gonna happen. So they don't have a tidal wave. They don't have a war. Usually, that kind of thing is gold. Like, or that's what makes Earth great. But like right now, and that's what made them all rich, by the way. And as they say, like, we don't want to be poor again, do we? No. Then think. We've got to keep our show popular. But how? Oh, and of course, you already hit on the idea. They'll just make things happen.
Fair enough.
They'll create exciting scenes for their televiz audience. Meanwhile, as the top man of the televiz company leaves his office, he goes and he's thinking, okay, I gotta find a way. We've got this plan. They have a great sequence of thrills of Earth ahead of them. And he goes to the Institute of Advanced Learning, just stopping by because there's a certain celebrity there. He doesn't know who the celebrity is, but there's a celebrity stopping by.
Sure. Is it Shaquille O'Neal?
No, it's the Flash.
What?
And he comes in, he's
He
like,
goes to Globnar?
he has been here to Globdar before.
Globdar. Sorry.
Or no, I don't think he's been here before, but he has made contact with them in a previous issue. And
And to be clear, this isn't in space. This is in an alternate dimension.
yes.
Fair enough.
And as the narration says, as the genial Sultan of Speed
Wait.
replies to the
Is that
warm...
an actual title for the Flash?
It seems to be an honorific of the Flash,
The
yes.
Sultan of Speed.
Yes. So this is his first time here on Earth. Nope, not Earth, Globdar.
Whoa.
I'm great at words today.
Yeah.
Just real good at them.
You are top notch.
And he says, your invitations in the form of mental messages kept getting through to me during the last year, and I wanted to appear before this class earlier, but I was too busy. However, this week things finally became kind of quiet on Earth, so I used my super speed to cross the dimensional boundaries, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
And the guy in charge, the bad guy, whose name is Drodorno.
Drodorno.
Yes, he comes
Okay.
in and he's like, oh, this is... I gotta make sure he doesn't look at a TV while he's here, because that could be bad. And they're like, Drodorno, tell him all about your show, Thrills of Earth. Thrills of Earth? Yeah, we should turn on the show, right, Dro? He's like, yeah.
It's just a bunch of Cirque du Soleil performances going on around the world.
Yeah, let's turn it on. And then as it's turning on, there's a brief moment where you hear the audio before you see the video, because that's how TVs used to work, certainly. And
Sure.
sometimes still.
I mean, they used to sort of like, boing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
turn on.
And what you hear is, it's impossible. Stop the thing. And Flash says, what's going on? They're like, oh yeah, just give it a minute for the screen to wake up. And Dro pulls out a little device. It's not said what it is. Produces a bolt of energy, and unseen, shuts down that television, shuts down that TV box.
Oh no, it broke.
Yeah, that's basically what happens. He goes, oh, well, I happen to know that today's program isn't especially interesting. Anyway, I'm sure you've seen enough of your world for a while. Come on, see some of our world.
Yeah.
Come see our world for a little bit. Come out outside. And they go outside there's an aquatic playground where there's just this cube of water that people swim in.
Right.
Just in the middle of the street, in the middle of the park.
Sure, of course. I mean, we got parks on Earth, and they've got water cube quads.
Yeah, it's held together by molecular Q tension, and they make a swimming block, but Flash is kind of distracted, and he's like, oh, there's a TV over there on that street corner, I guess.
Man, Flash, like, come on. You can't keep your attention for just like a minute? This guy's trying to give you a tour of a place called Globdar. Like, come on, man.
Television, man. It makes slaves of us all.
Yeah.
And Dorno is like, well, I can't let that happen. Oh no, Flash, the swimming block is falling. So he like does a thing with his little device, and the Q tension stops Q tensioning.
Yeah, sure.
And this thing of water is going down on the civilian, and he's like, oh no, she'll drown, that old woman. And so Flash zips her out of the way, and then he goes in and grabs the swimmers and takes them out and gets them to safety, and then he's gone.
I'll commit murder to stop you from seeing the more murder that we're committing.
And Dro's like, well, he's an incorrigible do-gooder. Once he starts, he can't stop, but at least where'd he go? Where'd the Flash go? And Flash ran over, and he looked at the TV screen, and he sees what's going on. He's like, I gotta get back to Earth.
Clearly.
And we jump to Earth when he returns, and the high-tension relay supports, you know, the big towers with the wires, they're alive.
Oh, okay. So not a normal natural disaster.
No, they decided to go with an unnatural disaster.
So the people who are watching this show, Thrills of Earth, they must have been like, what a twist. I don't think I've ever seen this happen before.
Oh, we'll get there. Well, they've never seen volcanoes either. They're like, oh, how does that work? They're like, oh, I guess it's some sort of the inner core comes leaking out, like, which is true, but they had to kind of frame it in their own perspective because they've never had that.
What about those wires, honey? Well, metal hates people from time to time and comes to life.
Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry.
Perfect.
And the Flash is like, all right, what to do? Well, here I could make a wind. Oh, that didn't work at all.
Make a wind?
Well, no, because you can do like the thing where he like spins really
he spins
fast.
in a circle.
Yeah, but like,
did he mean a tornado?
Well, he makes a tremendous wind, but it whistles through them, and the art is not clear. I don't know if he's trying to make a tornado or what. He trying to pull the air away, trying to push it, and it's like, yeah, they're high tension wires, and like wind does very little to them.
That's the point of them.
Yeah, somewhat the premise. And they start to invade Central City. These towers are marching on Central City, and Dorno's watching, and he's thinking, I guess I was needlessly concerned about the Flash. His so-called super speed is highly overrated.
Oh, wow.
Nothing he does interferes with my great thrill spectacle. And the people he's watching with, this is all internal monologue.
Of course.
The people he's watching with are like, please accept my congratulations, Mr. Dorno. This program of yours is sensational. But what is causing those metal structures to move like that? He's like, I can't imagine. Who can say? Wacky Earth stuff, right, guys? Wacky Earth stuff.
And everybody's like, fair enough.
Well, we cut away to the Flash, who runs into a shed, I guess.
Wait, runs inside of it like on purpose or actually hits it full speed?
Runs inside, I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
He goes and he gets a hammer, and he just starts banging and taking these things apart. He has to hit each rivet 100 times, but he can do it like super duper fast.
Jeez.
Because he's the Flash. And so he finally is starting to like take these things apart. And Dorno's like, well, that sucked. Like, I animated these things and sent them to destroy stuff. I can't let him get away with that, so I'm going to pull an Iron Man 1 / many villains in movies and comics and just take care of this personally.
Of course. It's always the best choice.
Of course, it's strictly illegal to use Q energy to enter the Earthworld dimension.
Well, Mike, we know this, obviously.
Of course. But I'm playing for big stakes, and I can't afford to worry about trifles. So he teleports into our world.
Look, this is a company man. He takes this kind of stuff personally.
This guy took his work home with him, and also to another dimension.
Yep.
And broke like all of the laws. Meanwhile, the Flash takes a little piece of one of the towers to his lab, his private lab, you know, that thing he has, and analyzes it.
Wait, he has a private Flash lab? Does it have a name?
No, it says in the private laboratory of police scientists. So it is ambiguous whether this is a police lab or his private lab, and also he's a police scientist. Also, it does not matter.
Fair enough.
But he's in his Flash costume, so I'd guess it's his private lab.
Sure.
But he's analyzing the radiation. He says, "Oh, this is strange. There's radiation." By the way, buried the lead there. There's radiation on the metal. And he said, "There's nothing I've ever seen before on Earth. Not on Earth, but I did see something like it. A glow of a tube and a televiz set on Teacher Elidar's world just a little while ago. That same glow, and that means that I need to go to that dimension and figure out what's going on." So it seems like he's gonna miss the villain. He's gonna go to Globdar.
And he's gonna go to Earth,
Yeah.
and they're just gonna miss each other.
Except as the Monarch of Motion pours it on.
Wait, what?
Yep. So as the Monarch of Motion, the Flash, as we all call him, I think.
Of course, just like the Sultan of Speed.
Yep. He's trying to run really fast to get to another dimension, but it's taking him longer than usual. For some reason, he just can't. No, now he's definitely slowing down. What's going on? He's getting heavier, and he turns, and there's Dro Dorno holding that a MacGuffin ray pointed at him.
I was gonna say, is it like the Deus Ex Machina of villainy?
It's not the sonic screwdriver he had earlier, which is, I guess, 100% that's what that was.
Yeah, that's what that is.
It was a sonic screwdriver.
It just does whatever you want it to.
No, this is a gun. Well, but as he's pointing it, the Flash is getting so heavy that it's actually breaking the sidewalk. He doesn't look any different. He's not like gaining weight, which is not unreasonable for a comic in the 60s. That could have happened too.
True.
Probably happened to the Flash. I think it did.
It had to have
It had to have happened. But no, he's just like running, and as he runs, barely, moving, he's just digging into the ground with his feet. But he realizes, and this is super dumb.
Oh boy.
He realizes that he's getting heavier the more he runs towards Dorno. So what if he runs backwards? Right? So far, so good. You're running further away from the beam. That checks out.
Sure.
Except he's not running further away from the beam. He just runs backwards.
Wait. So he's just turned himself around.
So he makes a little C turn.
Okay.
He just does a little U-turn. Backwards. And he runs and he picks up Dorno over his head. Backwards.
Okay.
And then he spins him around at super speed. Fortunately, works whether I move forward or backwards, which apparently not the case. Apparently it only works backwards now.
Yeah, because you just tried it forwards, didn't work. Backwards was the only way.
Right. Like running backwards turned him lighter, which would be fine if he just got a different angle. But then he just had to run backwards. Just he's I dare not turn around. And I would love if Dorno was later was you didn't have to run backwards. I can only point the beam at you at the speed of my reflexes.
Yeah.
So once you're behind me, you're good.
That's the one thing about Flash and his villains. It's always as long as you're faster than reflexes, which guess what? Most of the time you're gonna be.
Yeah.
People who don't have super speed are sometimes faster than other people's reflexes.
So he knocks out Dorno, takes him back to his own world to let his world judge him, and then we cut to an indeterminate amount of time later, and he's on trial. And they say, before the High Court in the 24th dimension, Dro Dorno, you are sentenced to serve a full term. Don't know what that term will be, but
sure.
Whatever. For your unlawful acts, both
10 million years in a Q prison, whatever they have on the
Q
Globdar.
prison. It all seems to be Q based.
Yeah, Q related.
Both on Globdar and on Earth. Your associates too must share your guilt and your penalty. I get. Hopefully they contributed to the evil, and not just his business pals.
Yeah, they're I just thought we were running a regular business. I was definitely not involved in making tower robots.
He actually did share the plan with everyone in his boardroom or whatever. So that's conspiracy.
They were yeah. It won't make so much money.
They drank. They were toasting it basically.
What can you imagine if they had walked out of the room? Do you think he's actually going to pull that off? I don't know, but all I got to say is I'm leaving tonight. You should come with me. We should go on a long vacation. Shit is going to go down.
In conclusion, the court wishes to thank the Flash for exposing the wicked deeds of this televiz company and for appearing as a star witness against the lawbreakers. Because we don't really need to know your secret identity for this witness stand. We don't really care.
And then people were outside televiz, too big to fail. Too big to fail.
And Teacher Elidar, that guy we saw earlier, who turned on that TV that one time and thanked Flash for showing up.
Well, thank God he came back into the story.
Yes, said, you'll be glad to hear, Flash. To play safe in the future, our authorities have decided never to permit any program like the Thrills of Earth series to be televised again in Globdar.
Wow. What a nice thing to do. Also, I guess removing some of their freedoms or something, maybe?
That is censorship of sorts.
It is censorship. They took that pretty hard. Maybe just put in a rule to not commit acts of terrorism and murder on other dimensions. I feel like you just need that one.
And they have a law for it. It works.
Yeah.
That guy stopped doing it because you arrested him.
They're going to jail or whatever is jail in Q Darland.
But I guess maybe the problem is you don't know when you're watching another reality's television or like, television streaming from another reality. Like, is that what they always do? Is that how things work over there?
I guess it's
so
true.
like, it's like, oh yeah, no, towers just walk around, and Flash is like, no. This is not a natural disaster. Something's like, this is a crazy evil thing. And they're like, oh, well, what about when the volcano happened? No, volcanoes are normal. That happens.
What if he was just like the point of contact for all things to make sure, like, yeah, what about this? Oh no, that's just coffee is too hot sometimes and you drink it and it burns your tongue. Okay, all right, thank you, Flash. Just hang up the phone.
Flash. We have a question about this. There's some sort of like space alien attacking you. Is this one of ours? No, we got that too. Like, this is complicated.
Man, I gotta ask, are you guys focused on Metropolis and Gotham a lot? Because I'm gonna be honest, I really can't take that many phone calls.
Oh, yeah, no, guys, that does happen. No, he's just got no superpowers there, just super evil.
Yeah, just super crazy, all of those people.
Anyway, Flash runs back home, and that's the end of this little comic.
Oh man, what a nice little tale about Flash running backwards to save the day.
As he leaves, Eladar does say, "Farewell, Flash. We'll always regard you as our hero, just as Earth does."
Oh, well that's nice. And thanks, Globdar.
Except, he won't actually be there to help you guys.
Yeah, the Flash is just like a person on that planet. Although, to be fair, since a lot of those disasters are natural disasters, wouldn't they probably know Superman more than they would know Flash? I feel like Superman gets down with natural disasters.
Well, remember,
Flash.
they met Flash through other things that happened in the comic.
Oh, that's right. The entire Globdar series. I completely forgot about that arc.
How could you jerk face?
We'll have to catch up on it at another time. All right, guys, and that was our main segment, and that'll take us to our game, Would You Rather? All right, this is our game, Would You Rather? This is just like the regular game, Would You Rather, except we inject comics into it. For this episode, our Would You Rather is, would you rather have an arch-nemesis that is a nigh-unstoppable being or a super genius?
Ooh, okay, so this is unrelated, but I'm just going to get a quick thing off my chest. The leader is a bad arch-nemesis
Is he?
for the Hulk.
Yeah, probably.
Because the theme of each... So the leader, for those who don't know, because he hasn't really been in that many... He hasn't been in any of the movies.
What
really.
a surprise.
Yeah. The leader is kind of the Hulk's major arch-enemy, and his whole deal is that he's got a really big brain.
And he's just
and
really
he's super smart, which means that because the Hulk is super strong, the ending of every Leader versus Hulk story is, I punched the smart guy stuff until I won.
Yeah, it's
like usually, like sometimes the Hulk is extra smart, or sometimes, the Hulk and Bruce Banner are separated and like Bruce has got to figure things out. But like usually it's just the Hulk punched things and Leader's like, no, my plans, how could this dumb brute, how could this dumb jock thwart my nerd stuff? And it's like, he's not a good villain.
He's not.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you kind of need a villain that will also punch back against the Hulk.
Anyway, all that to say, nothing, that led nowhere, but I wanted to get that off my chest.
Did it bring us closer to the answer? I don't know. Nigh-unstoppable, I imagine someone like a Doomsday, and when I imagine of like a super genius, I imagine of like a Lex Luthor, or like a Doom or something like that, or even like an evil Reed Richards or something like that. Like somebody that is just taking science, or like science and magic, to really bad places. But on the other end of the spectrum, like a nigh-unstoppable, like a Doomsday, or even like I guess a Brainiac is more or less a super genius.
He's definitely, his name, Jay,
True.
is Brainiac.
I think that did kind of answer the question right there. Yeah.
Can we take a quick minute and talk about how much Doomsday sucks?
I'm not a big fan of Doomsday. Neither of us are.
Doomsday is like, well, I don't want to say no one is, but like.
Oh, I said neither of us are.
Oh, I misheard you. I thought you said none of us are.
No, there's plenty of people who are fans of Doomsday.
That's an awfully sweeping gesture.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Because here's the thing about Doomsday, and here's the thing also about Venom. Venom more so, I think, in Spider-Man.
Yeah, you have a pretty big problem with Venom.
I think Venom works, but he was never given a chance to work. He never earned arch-villain status. He was just really cool. He just like showed up and it was like, oh yeah, that's definitely an arch-villain. But like he didn't kill a Stacy. Like Green Goblin killed Gwen Stacy and Doc Ock killed George Stacy. Like you gotta kill a Stacy.
Yeah, you gotta kill a Stacy to get in there. You gotta get more Stacys.
Like Venom showed up and immediately started being an anti-hero. So like
that's true.
It like really. So like here's the thing: when I think of unstoppable villains like those guys, because I don't know if Venom is nigh unstoppable like that.
I mean, he's close. I mean, I'd probably put like a Carnage maybe more in there than a Venom. Because like Carnage is always just like you cannot really reason with him. He is just like a crazy, brutal force. Is Joker nigh unstoppable or is he a super genius? Where does Joker fall on this spectrum? Because he is a force of nature, but he is also insanely smart and methodical.
He's a super genius.
I would think he's a super genius.
He definitely falls into super genius territory.
So,
whereas you have Parasite, who would be more a non-unstoppable type.
That's true. And then you have like Galactus, who I see as like a nigh unstoppable villain. He's not a super genius. He's never coming to a planet being like, how will I trick them into letting me eat this planet? It's just,
right.
I'm dropping on this planet and I'm just going to punch and stomp everything until I eat it. So, I don't know.
It's tough because we kind of have to define the terms. I think what makes Venom nigh unstoppable is that he is just strong enough to be a challenge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's just strong enough that Spider-Man can't just beat him up and save the day.
That's true.
You know, which kind of defines, I mean, it's why an Abomination. You know, he's not the strongest person in the Marvel Universe, but he's stronger than the Hulk.
I would say also Apocalypse is a nigh unstoppable villain for the X-Men. He's just a dude with all the powers and not really a super genius. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would argue with me on that point, but he just is a dude with a lot of powers, and he relies on having a lot of powers for relying on super geniusness.
I'm looking at Apocalypse's abilities, and the first thing on there is genius level intellect.
Damn it!
But also, he has telekinesis, telepathy, technopathy, teleportation, immortality, invulnerability, regenerative healing ability, reality warping, super speed, strength and reflexes, and matter, energy, and mass manipulation. And all his plans are usually just, I'm gonna kill people.
Just destroy the world.
So, like, I think we can go ahead and call him nigh unstoppable.
Yeah.
Apocalypse also kind of sucks.
I think what we've kind of come to here is I like super genius villains, but if I was to have an arch-nemesis, I would probably want it to be nigh unstoppable, because most of the time those nigh unstoppable villains are not going to emotionally like cripple you, like Green Goblin or like a Lex Luthor or any of these genius level villains are going to be like crippling you emotionally first, like attacking your family and attacking your personal life and then slowly breaking you down until they beat you, while a nigh unstoppable force, yes, is almost nigh unstoppable, but you will at least hopefully, especially if they are a big destructive force, you might like rally in some other like superheroes and like, hey, Galactus is attacking, let's all get over there and like
Thanos.
with lasers, like Thanos. Yeah, you could like team up and have like cool team up parties and stuff like that. But like a super genius, a lot of time it's usually like very personal attacks, very methodical, and as much as I love reading about them, I feel like they would just be way, way worse to have as an arch nemesis, because I feel like you'd always be unsettled. You know what I mean? You'd always be like, what a nice day outside, or is it? Or am I in like a tiny bottle city and I haven't realized it yet?
Or it's like the Joker situation of like, oh, does he know who I am? Does he care? What's worse? Like, what's more dangerous? Like, you have to be more on edge around your geniuses than you do your world-ending threats.
Right. And like Doomsday, that dude doesn't have like personal grudges. At least I don't think he does. He's not like, oh man, I gotta get back to Earth and destroy Clark Kent's family. He's just like, punch car, punch building, punch person who's punching me. And that's kind of his deal.
I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about it? Nigh unstoppable or super genius?
God, what a choice, though. They're both such great options.
Yeah, they're great. One's really easy to pick over the other.
All those villains that we named the nigh unstoppable are kind of dumb.
They're kind of dumb, but like they're also really terrifying.
they're really terrifying. The nigh-unstoppable villains are really terrifying.
I mean, I would put Darkseid as no, he kind of Venn diagrams between the two.
Yeah, he does.
Because he definitely, like, even though he is definitely the definition of nigh unstoppable, he also has like a lot of like methodic plans where he just shows up in your living room chilling, like drinking some cognac and be like, aha, I put a plan into motion. Bye.
Yeah, when he's at his best, he is not the punch you in the face guy.
Or shooting lasers at you. He is the, I have like crippled you and now you'll come to apocalypse by your own free will.
Right. Or
Because he's the space devil.
Yeah, or you've lost the will to leave.
Yeah, pretty much.
But here's the thing. They're my arch rival, right?
Yeah.
My arch-nemesis.
Yeah, they're the one you're coming up against all the time.
If it's all the time, I'd rather have the genius.
Really? Why is that?
I
You want to get into some of that puzzle action. You're like, you know what? I don't get thrown in enough death traps, and I really enjoy the escape room scenarios.
do enjoy escape rooms. I have had some fun in escape rooms.
See, there you go.
I really have. And I would much
You're like,
rather
ooh,
that...
this one's clock themed this time.
Here's the thing. Because every once in a while, every once in a blue moon, you have your all-star Superman moment of, okay, Superman and Lex see eye to eye. Or have a conversation about who they are.
That's true. There is always a bit more monologuing when it comes to the super genius.
Yeah.
Nigh unstoppable enemies more or less scream and shoot beams or punch you.
And like, here's the thing. Like, one of them, God, maybe this speaks to me as a person, but like, you learn a lot more about the human condition from the super genius you're fighting than the nigh unstoppable, I want nothing but your pain villain, you
Right.
know, or I have one objective. Like, the Juggernaut is an interesting character, but that's not why he's an interesting villain. You know what I mean? He's interesting because of his powers. He's just this nigh unstoppable guy. What makes Juggernaut cool is not the fact that he has this damaged past. That is cool stuff, and getting to know it is interesting, but getting to know Lex Luthor.
So you want a dope rogues gallery is what you want.
I want a rogue. I want an enemy. You know what I mean? Like, there's a moment in like episode 5 of Supergirl, I think it is, first season, where she has this scene with Maxwell Lord where she like accuses him. She's like, you tried to destroy these trains and stuff. He's like, no. But if I was, what would I have learned? I would have learned how fast you are. I would have learned how strong you are. I would have learned that you put this person in priority over these people, which might mean potentially that you cared about someone in this scenario, and all I had to do is figure out who that person is. That's a lot of data, and it's like, oh, this person's gonna make you better. This person, like the Joker in his own sick way,
He does keep Batman on his toes.
keeps
pretty
Batman on
hardcore.
his toes and deliberately doesn't want Batman to be weak. And like, and there's a moment from, it's not my favorite comic ever, but there is a comic where not Green Lantern, I don't care about him, I don't read his comics.
Oh, I like Green Lantern.
I think he's fine, but the Green Goblin and Spider-Man have been having this like tete-a-tete for the whole comic, this whole arc, and at the end they just sort of sit down on a wall next to each other and they just talk for a bit. And it's not my favorite scene of villains doing that ever, but I do kind of like it because there's this moment of like, yeah, you get it, you were there too.
Yeah.
Now granted, now knowing what we know about the Green Goblin, that scene super does not work anymore.
Super weird.
It's
well, yeah.
super messed up.
That comic ruined a lot of things, but
Oh boy, did it ever.
But yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. So what you're saying is it's interesting to think about this. Like if your rogues gallery only consisted of nigh unstoppable villains, like it might be better to have nigh unstoppable, but if your rogues gallery is ever going to have a super genius, it's best to have a super genius as your arch villain because they're going to get you at the top of your game all the time. You're going to be polishing that, that skill that you have constantly because you're going to have to use all of it against a super genius.
Yeah.
And like,
because this is theoretically someone that you just can't punch to stop.
Yeah.
Like you can't really punch Lex Luthor to stop him from doing Lex Luthor stuff because you will shatter him.
Yeah.
That man is, depending on your version of Lex Luthor, tough enough to take a hit from a person.
Yeah.
But you're
Could take maybe a Batman punch.
But you're a super person and you don't get that luxury anymore.
Exactly. So this is someone that's actually going to make you flex the muscles that you don't normally do. Like nobody is challenging Superman in a how many more bullets can I take bullet contest or how much faster can you fly in the air contest. It's always the more interesting ones are the ones that are challenging him in like moral dilemmas.
Right.
And
I mean, it's the the Green Goblin moment from the first movie of like, here's your girlfriend and here's all these kids and you have to decide. And like, it's so messed up that I would rather have that than that dumb version of Darkseid from Justice League War who shows up and just like, That movie's real bad.
It is real bad.
I've been throwing some shade
There's
today.
a lot of shade today.
But-
and yeah, it is interesting to think, like, you will learn more about yourself, I guess, in those moments as well. It's like, okay, I guess I am the person that rescues my girlfriend and lets a whole truckload of people die. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day...
Here's why supervillain. Because then you get to yell, "You diseased maniac!" Like, you get to be like, you blew it up. You know, like when they go too far because they're mad scientists.
Of
you're
course.
like, how could you? You know.
You can fall on your knees moments, scream at the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want that? So yeah, you're right. As an arch-nemesis, I guess a super genius would be the best choice. Strangely, I really thought nigh-unstoppable was for the win, but you're right. That would make more sense. They would keep you on top of your game.
Imagine if you're the guy that Thanos fights every month, and it's like, oh, brother, like, I just want a reprieve. I just want, like, a puzzle box.
Yeah, thank God. It's just a letter in the mail. I'll figure this out tomorrow. Like, did he read the letter? Damn it, I have to wait.
Yeah, I'd much rather fight the Riddler every month than Apocalypse.
He'd be a great villain. Like, do you do Sudoku or anything? Oh, no, I have the Riddler as my arch-nemesis. I just wait for him to send me things in the mail, and that kind of keeps me on edge. So yeah, guys, I think we've got our answer. We would rather have a super genius as our arch-nemesis. So guys, that was episode 72 of Because Comics. We'll be posting new episodes every other week. And if you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com. Of course, you can email us any questions at becausecomics@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr, all at partialarc. And be sure to check out more content from our comic boy wonder, Mike Christensen, at partialarc.com, where he writes articles every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks for listening, and remember...
Patrick Stewart is going to be in the Emoji Movie.
What?
And he's going to play the poop emoji.
God. What? Here's the thing, though. That almost sounds amazing. In some strange way, just hearing Patrick Stewart be like, yes, I'm playing the poop emoji in the new emoji.
Because comics.